let us discuss the rent-pocalypse.
Yeah, the rent-pocalypse.
So we had talked for a bit about how people weren't going to pay rent. People didn't have money to pay rent. And when that happens, the next wave of economic destruction would be upon us because while a lot of these lefties don't understand that there's a lot of work that goes into maintaining property, these companies have staff. They have employees. They have groundskeepers, electricians, maintenance, whatever.
Yep.
Now those people aren't going to get paid. But the story from the Wall Street Journal is that nearly a third of U.S. apartment renters didn't pay April rent. Some tenants will be temporarily protected from eviction by a patchwork of federal and local laws. But my understanding is it only lasts for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And what do you
90
think?
days,
What do you
right?
think is going to happen when? So there was this big story. BuzzFeed covered it, where a building sent out an email to everybody saying, "Hey, like here's what you can do if you need benefits. Just so you know, rent is still due.
Right.
We won't evict you because of the law, but you can be evicted later."
Right.
And so the company forgot. They accidentally CC'd everybody on it, I guess.
Oh, they weren't supposed to?
I mean, maybe they didn't care.
Yeah.
But now everyone had access to everyone else's email. And so they organized a rent strike on the entire company.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
And the reason that's messed up
that
is like,
backfired.
well, if you do that, you slap in the face of you slap your landlord in the face. What do
Yeah.
you think is going to happen in 3 months? Do you think they're going to be like, well, now that this is all over, keep paying your rent, we're all good? Or do you think they're going to be like, get out?
They're going to get
Bye-bye.
out. They're going to tell them to get out. It's not surprising.
I'd be willing to bet if you had an email from your landlord and you emailed back saying, I lost my job at the beginning of the month, I hope you understand, there's something I can do, they'd be like, we'll figure something out.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what the email said, right? If you need help,
Well,
here's the way to get some help.
But it said,
but you got to pay rent.
you still got to pay your rent,
Sure,
and
it's
we
a
can't
business.
evict you now, but we can evict you later.
And we will.
Yep.
It's not really a surprise. It's
Oh,
not
man.
surprising.
Check this out. So the Wall Street Journal writes, nearly a third of U.S. apartment renters didn't pay any of their April rent during the first week of the month, according to new data to be released Wednesday by the National Multifamily Housing Council and a consortium of real estate data providers. The numbers are the first hard look at how many Americans are struggling to make rent during the coronavirus pandemic. The data comes in the first of weekly reports on unpaid rent from NMHC, a landlord trade group. But I gotta stop real quick because why are we assuming it was all people unable to pay?
Right.
How many of them were like, "Ooh, now's my chance"?
Yeah, exactly. How do we know?
We just we saw that story from BuzzFeed where they were
can't
like,
believe that.
"We refuse to pay."
I blame Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, because
They
they
started it.
blasted it out.
Yeah.
they
We are
started
not
all
going to
this.
pay come April 1st. And
Well,
it's
that's
like, what? Why are you even announcing that?
They said they couldn't pay,
okay.
and
sure.
now what's AMC might go out of business.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with all that property at all these malls?
It's going to this is what I've been saying for a long time. The housing market is going to turn they're going to use it. If they're going to become homes. They have big, huge, like
Movie theaters?
No. Well, and malls. You said malls, and
Yeah.
movie theaters maybe, but think about what a mall is.
Oh, yeah.
It's got all these like stores with like nice and lit up sunroofs throughout the whole middle. So it's like gardens in the middle, and then it's going to be apartments. It doesn't make sense for everyone goes online to
malls are collapsing.
get everything. Yeah, exactly. Small time businesses they're getting shut down, especially now. It's like half of them are gonna go under because of this.
It's interesting because I've actually been to a dying mall. This was during Ferguson.
Yeah.
There was like 2 towns over to the west of Ferguson was a mall that had I think like 90 empty storefronts,
Wow.
and it was partly because of the rioting in Ferguson.
Okay.
So when the first rioting broke out, they locked the whole place down with like police because they were worried about looting and stuff, and people naturally got freaked out and didn't want to show up. What ends up happening then is you have a lot of these stores that operate at a loss because these big companies. I don't know if there's any specific I can specifically to name, but I'll give you a Starbucks example. Starbucks will make a ton of money in one location of a city, and they'll be losing money in another location. But they want the marketing and the presence.
Right.
So the successful store subsidizes the weaker stores.
Okay.
As it happens in malls, you'll end up with, Lids or something.
And
They sell hats.
Starbucks and GameStops
And they know that this
I
one
don't know,
mall
what else?
isn't that lucrative, but they want the brand recognition of the people
Yeah.
who come and go.
Yep.
So when one store leaves, then there's less incentive for people to go there even, and then for other businesses to even set up, because the benefit of the mall is that there's foot traffic.
Yeah.
So if high-profile stores start leaving for any reason, they don't pay their rent. AMC, for instance, if AMC goes out of business, these movie theaters, or even Cheesecake Factory,
Yeah.
how many people have been like, oh, let's go to Cheesecake Factory. Where is it? At the mall. Hey, great. We'll go. We'll put our names in, wait 15, 20 minutes, walk around the mall and buy stuff. Now that Cheesecake Factory is gone, people are going to be like, let's go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now the mall is going to, this is the cascade that destroys the mall. And that's why it's not just about, rent for people and where they live. Because this story specifically talking about apartment rentals.
Yeah, true.
But businesses.
Yeah, exactly. All rent.
Yeah.
It's impacting across the board for sure.
But then you have these activists, which is the Wall Street Journal actually shows. I wonder if they're trying to make this, what is this? They say protesters in Los Angeles last week called for rent forgiveness due to the surge in coronavirus-related job losses. Why not cell phone forgiveness?
Yeah, rent forgiveness, so like they don't have to actually pay for it. Like, oh, we get this month free. Is that what they're asking for?
What about cable TV forgiveness? What's the difference between? I get it. You need a place to live. You can't be homeless.
Yeah, food and shelter.
But you're paying for some kind of service or product or something. You're paying to use the space.
Yeah.
Why should we forgive this and nothing else? This is one of the biggest problems with a lot of these lefty activists, like especially the minimum wage increases. It's like, why $15? Why not 20? Why not 25? Why not 30?
Yeah.
And then you actually had, I think Rashida Tlaib said, okay, then we'll do 20. And after they got, they voted on 15, she then said 20, and then it just keeps going up. It never ends.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm curious as to what the economic impact is going to be of, all this. The Wall Street Journal says that only 69% of tenants paid any of their rent between April 1st and the 5th, compared with 81 in the first week of March and 82 in April 2019. The count includes renters who only made partial payments. Many renters who haven't yet paid may still pay later this month.
Wow, that's actually really interesting. That's not that much of a difference.
Right.
If only 82% paid their rent in April last year, there was no pandemic last year. So that's not that big of a drop.
It's a 13% difference.
It's not like, going in, it's like, 100% of people pay the rent, eventually, maybe not like right on time, but they pay the rent. And that's clearly not true. Only 82% paid last year. Wow, that's an interesting number.
The Wall Street Journal reports the federal government has agreed to let apartment building owners with government-backed mortgages defer their mortgage payments. And the Federal Reserve also said it would buy up bonds tied to certain multifamily loans. Those measures, however, only cover part of the total rental market and don't address loans held by banks without a governmental guarantee. Less than 1/3 of U.S. rental units are federally financed and covered by protections in last month's stimulus package, according to an estimate from the Urban Institute, a Washington-based think tank.
That's not a lot.
No, you know what I think it really is, man? I think there's a decent amount of people who are like, now's my chance. I'm not going to pay rent.
Yep.
And they're justifying it. And look, you have protests in Los Angeles, rent forgiveness. These people have no idea what they're talking about. They're basically just demanding something for free.
Feels like it, yeah.
I get it. We don't want people to be homeless, but you're able-bodied, and like these people aren't. These protesters look young. Like, you can get a job, man.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest problems with the participation trophy era is that none of these people want to work at McDonald's. I worked at a fast food restaurant. It was my first job. I didn't care. It was a job.
Mine was Blockbuster.
Blockbuster Video.
I worked at Blockbuster.
And so what's the big deal? How much do they pay? They pay minimum wage?
I don't even remember. It was years ago.
But I'm sure they didn't pay you
18 or something.
I'm sure they paid you the bare minimum.
Yeah, definitely.
There's so many young people or younger people today that they're like, I'm not going to work at McDonald's. Okay, then you'll be broke.
Yeah.
But then what they do is they demand free rent or free product or government pay for things.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of strange to me because I was watching I was watching the history of like the fast food burger in America.
Okay.
And it was like there was a period in this country where it wasn't demeaning to work low-skilled jobs. It was like people were like, I got a job. What do you do? I'm part of a food prep line. It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And you just flip burgers. And then something happened where we started getting snootier and snootier.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
I remember growing up and people would say to me, like, you don't want to end up flipping burgers, do you? And I'm like...
It's like, will I be happy?
Right.
It's like, yeah. Oh, well then what's the big deal?
Yep. That's what my dad used to say. He's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then I'd be like, I don't know. He's like, wrong answer. Happy.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I like that.
Yep. I remember I was riding with my dad when I was a little kid. And I saw a homeless guy riding a bike.
Okay.
Presumably homeless, like carrying stuff around. And I was like a little kid. I said, that's sad. And he's like, what's sad? And I was like, oh, the homeless guy. And he goes, why is that sad? He could be the happiest guy in the world for all you know. And I was like, And the guy didn't look sad.
It's good perspective right there.
Yeah. So, the funny thing is about these people who feel like they're above everything, like they deserve free rent because, housing is a human right or whatever. It's like, why should the immigrants who come to this country, they work fast food. Why should they have to do that and not get free rent, but you think you're deserving of the free rent? I mean, you encourage them to come here and stay there. And then what? They have to wash your dishes and then you get to live for free? How does that make sense?
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No.
The other thing too is like, what if you were really good at flipping burgers?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So I'll tell you my we will wrap up on this one final thought. Some business advice for everybody. I may have said this on the show. I don't know if I did, but let me ask you guys a question. Did I ever ask? Well, I'll just ask you anyway. Adam, if you got a call right now from McDonald's and they said, Adam Krigler, and you were like, yeah, that's me, they'd be like, we want you to work the cashier at our downtown Philly location starting tomorrow 10 a.m. What do you say?
How much?
Boom.
How much you paying me?
Exactly. Right answer.
Right? Because I love my job right now. Right? I get to talk to these awesome people, and you two. This is great.
But you know what most people say?
What?
No.
No, I can't be seen at McDonald's.
So people often ask me like, how do you be successful and all that? And I ask them this question: if McDonald's called you right now and said we want you to work the cashier, what would you say? They're like, no. I'm like, why would you say no? Because I don't want to do that. I'm like, it's the wrong answer. The right answer is how much?
Or like, what if they paid you $20,000
a day?
A day. You'd be like, all right, maybe I can work that register.
Right. Yeah. And
like,
so
you could.
This is how people end up being bad at business.
True.
It's like you don't even know what they were going to offer you. You don't even know how long it was going to be for. And they're like, well, I just assumed. Boom, there it is. Yep. You assumed.
You got to know. You got to ask questions. You got to do the research.
So here's what I tell people. When I get hit for jobs, they're like, would you be willing to do this? I say, I don't know. Give me $1,000. And when they're like, whoa, $1,000, that's too much money. I'll be like, okay. I didn't want to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever.
But at least now I know.
Yeah. Or they might be like, okay, $1,000. And you're like, wow, really $1,000? Oh.
Yeah, maybe I should ask for a little more.
Yeah. So, right. Exactly. I had a friend who got a job offer that was, it paid too little. And they were like, I'm going to say no. I don't think I'm going to take it. And I was like, why say no? I was like, would you do the job for $90,000 a year? And they were like, nah. And I was like, how about 120? And they went, well, 120. Yeah. I'm like, there you go. Send the email.
Yep.
Saying that's what you want. And then they're like, but they're not going to offer it to me. And I'm like, congratulations. Then you don't get a job you didn't want in the first place.
Boom.
And sure enough, they sent the email and the company emailed back. That's too much. We appreciate it. Have a nice day.
Yep.
There you go. Problem solved.
Wait, you were going to say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Why even bother?
But imagine if they said yes.
Yeah, right.
Right. Anyway, to wrap this back up, I think we have a problem with weird urban elitism. And I wonder if like these people saying rent forgiveness, can we like put them on a farm? like I mean like to go on a retreat, not like what was going to farm? That was a reference to something, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Disciplinary camp.
Yeah, it was a reference to something specific about sending people to a farm. No, I mean like quite literally like showing them how to grow food and how to do basic stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Not by force. That wasn't my
I was
point.
just thinking like, man, the farmers are going to be like, get these people out of here.
Dude, for real.
You know what I mean?
You know what's funny though? These people, they don't
know how to work. You got to work on a farm.
Oh, totally.
It's serious work.
But think about these activists, how they're like all about immigrants and illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
It's like you want to be really honest. Illegal immigrants work so much harder than these people.
They really do.
It was funny, like I can't remember who tweeted this. They were like, we will gladly exchange the socialists for the illegal, the undocumented workers who work really hard.
Yeah. Like
we're good. So hey, it's your call.
Yeah, because all those people know what it's like to have nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
They had no comfortable bubble ever. They see Americans in their comfortable bubble and they go, I will do anything to have that.
Yeah.
And then they do.
And then you have some overweight people demanding they get free rent.
Yeah.
It's like, I know people who would like scrape scum off of the floor with a toothbrush for minimum wage in this country because it's so much like minimum wage in this country is a lot of money relative to a lot of other places.
Yeah.
Very true.
And there are people who are like, wow, I would get to do that and make all this money. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of higher education? Because I'm wondering if the bar isn't being artificially set high.
I think it's partly.
Yeah.
I think it's these people are being told by their parents that they're going to be the president,
Right.
you know.
Well, the same parents who are telling them that they can do whatever they want are also telling them that they have to go to college.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if there's overlap.
You can do anything, but go get in debt.
Yeah, get in debt first.
Yeah.
This will work great.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny when I see people I know who have ridiculous debt, like hundreds of thousands in debt.
Yep.
And they're trying to advocate for why the government should forgive all of it. And I'm like, isn't it strange that the people who think it's the right thing to do are the ones who are saddled with debt, and the people who don't have the debt think it's the wrong thing to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you dug yourself into a hole, made mistakes, and then were like, somebody else should pay for it.
Debt forgiveness now.
Yeah.
Holding up the sign.
Seriously.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
you know?
it's exactly the same.
Yeah. Rent forgiveness.
Yep.
You know, cities are going to collapse. This can't continue. The cost of rent goes up.
Yep.
The value of labor goes down. And then how do you maintain these buildings? Look at San Francisco. The place is a nightmare.
It really is.
There's like poop everywhere. They have a poop department.
They do.
That's
yes.
incredible.
It's true.
Truly
Literally,
amazing.
it's like firefighters.
That had
but
me
for
cracking up when you told me
Oh,
that.
man.
It's a real thing.
I know.
Look at you laughing at the misfortune of this dystopian nightmare.
It's their
man.
fault.
Think about what San Fran is too. It's like, I mean, this is in L.A. These rent forgiveness people. You know what, man? If somebody builds something and they use their labor, you know, and they work really hard for it, why do these people think they deserve it for free? Just, you know what? Maybe they don't think they deserve it. Maybe they found an easy out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Put on a mask, put on gloves, threaten people, and
They're
you'll
like,
get it for free.
I can't pay rent, or I can, and everyone else isn't doing it, so I'm gonna just go full in and make signs and just, you know, be an activist against this just because I don't want to pay rent.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know.
why not go all the way? Why stop at like I shouldn't have to pay rent? How about the government should give me personally $1 million?
Ooh.
Let's just go all the way. I should be king of the planet. Everyone give me everything. It's interesting because if you're asking for free stuff because you think you deserve it, and look, I think there's an argument to be made about fighting for certain rights, but arguing that you have a right to someone else's property which is supported and maintained by their labor and you shouldn't contribute to it is a really weird thing. But why stop there?
Yeah, it's true.
Why not? How about
What's the difference?
Yeah.
how about we own the building?
Shooting off
Why
a low.
why rent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Shoot
these people-
higher.
exactly. Aim higher. Aim for the moon, man. Because
Yeah.
if you miss, you'll hit the stars. Or aim for the
Yeah.
stars. What is saying?
Shoot for the moon.
Shoot for the moon.
Yeah,
Because
even
if you miss, you'll land among the stars.
That's
There you
stupid.
go. Put that rent forgiveness sign down.
But that's
And-
like actually flinging yourself into the moon.
Yeah.
Sounds dangerous.
It's-
Why
Sounds
not just hold
horrible.
up a sign saying, "Give me ownership of the building"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why stop there? Give me the owner. Make me mayor,
I
Yeah.
deserve it.
supreme
Yeah.
chancellor of the city. Why even stop there?
Yeah.
But in a more serious nature, why literally stop with only rent? Why don't they demand free utilities? Free utilities,
Free school?
free access, free maintenance.
Yeah, it's
The
interesting.
people who built this should be forced to maintain the building for free. I'm not
Right.
going to give them anything.
It's like, well, I'll keep paying Con Ed because I want my electricity to stay on because they'll shut it off. But I want rent free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there's a lot of people that are just like, you know, my grandfather was one of those. He had like 3 buildings. He busted his butt off to try to, you know, fix everything that was wrong. There's always things that were going wrong. And if, you know, his whole life depended on getting rent from these people.
And you
know?
got to maintain that building for 30 years,
Yeah.
35 years, whatever, however long, and maybe longer. These people come in for a year.
Right.
And you know what really is really messed up in Chicago? There's a problem where it's probably not unique to Chicago, but when people get evicted, they take like Hershey's syrup and squeeze it all throughout the cracks of
Oh
wherever
my
they can.
Gosh.
You
So
can't
bad.
get it out.
Yeah.
It's like a deep clean. You got to pull up tile floors and everything. So you have these people.
Sometimes it's not Hershey's chocolate.
That's true,
Sometimes it's
Even worse.
excrement.
man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you see what the result is of this mentality of I get it for free. Like, have you ever been to Crown Heights
Yeah.
in Brooklyn?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a bunch of boarded up buildings, just like.
Yep.
You know what's really crazy about New York? Have you ever played a video game where there's some buildings you can go in? You know what I'm talking about, like GTA, for instance.
Yeah.
Most buildings are just closed,
Yeah.
but a few of them you can go in.
Very little. More like Division would make more sense. Like
Yeah, like
there's things that are open you can explore, but most are boarded up.
Like
Yeah.
parts of New York.
Just like New York.
It's
yeah.
crazy. Like when I lived in Crown Heights, it's like I walk down this busy street and I see all of these buildings boarded up, and I'm like, it's almost like being in a video game where you're not supposed to go in the building because they didn't design it.
Yeah.
Why are all these buildings just destroyed? And it's because there's no one there to pay to maintain it.
Exactly.
And that's what happens when you get these people who want to invert the flow of like value.
Yeah.
So it's got to start from somewhere.
Well, there was already over the past maybe like I guess the past 10 years, people leaving cities, people going out into the smaller rural areas and getting huge houses for less their mortgage would be less than what they were paying rent wise. And they're like, look at my property. Like they're gardening now. And it's like, there's a lot of that going around. So cities are emptying out already.
With the internet?
And now this?
I'm looking at West Virginia, man.
Yeah, I mean, the Skylink, what is it Skylink?
Skylink?
What's it called?
Elon Musk.
Starlink.
Starlink.
Yeah.
Starlink. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You know what, man? But not
it's like it's going to be everywhere. Internet's going to be everywhere. That's amazing.
Not even that. I mean, there are parts of West Virginia that have gigabit internet.
Really?
Like a lot of the places there. And so now I'm thinking like, man, you could have this massive property.
Yep.
You can run around wherever you want, do whatever you want. No one's going to get in your way. Listen, you know what's crazy to me about the cities? You live in New York. Tell me, when was the last time you talked to your neighbor?
I can't.
Nah, you
mean,
didn't.
I'm trying to think. You know, there was one time that I was living in the Upper East Side where I was friends with my upstairs neighbor. But that was it. I lived in New York for 16 years, and I never knew my neighbors. Never.
I lived in the building next to you, and then moved a block away.
Yeah.
And we knew each other.
Right.
We knew nobody else.
But we knew each other before that, though.
Right. Now I was looking for an apartment. I'm like, oh, hey, this building opened up, and you recommended it.
Yeah.
Luke, I talked about this before. Luke Rutkowski has a video on his YouTube channel where it's from like 2012, where he goes in the subway and he's like, look at all these millions of people, and not one of them talks to each other. Let's talk to them. It's like a cool video.
That is cool.
Why bother living in the city, crammed in this tiny box for a ridiculous amount of money and really high taxes,
Exactly.
to be around people you don't want to talk to?
Well, you're not thinking about what they do after work. You know, you see them in the subway, but they're either going to work or going to the place where they do congregate with people. You know, when you go to a bar in the middle of nowhere, there's like 5 people. They go there all the time. They all know each other. There's nothing new.
Yeah, I get it.
In New York, you go to a bar every single day. You can go to that same bar and you'll see no one the same. Well, probably.
Maybe just me, but I see these videos from quarantine, people, and they're like, look, we built a pillow fort in our living room. It's like, yes, on my property, we built a fort, like a real one, with wood. And then we climbed up in it. Or we dug a trench, and like, you can do so much on a massive property. You can farm, you can grow stuff, you can build stuff. That's why I've been slowly moving away from cities. Like, what's the point? I mean, I get it, work, right?
Yeah.
But now with the internet, especially with what we do, what's the incentive to be anywhere near one of these monstrosities with really high taxes, smog, garbage air, people you don't want to talk to?
I mean, you made mention the other day that the air is cleaner because of this, and I didn't really pay attention to it, but I was out today skating and I was just taking some deep breaths, and I was just like, wow, the air is really cleaner. I can tell the difference, and it was nice.
Yeah, we're really close to Philly.
But imagine way out in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. You know, I don't know, I can't name of a big city in West Virginia, but it's not Philadelphia. It's not New York. You know, it's not Chicago. It's like these big industrial places we've lived in.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who are listening who live in more rural areas. And at this point, it's probably makes more sense than ever. You get a big property with a low mortgage, tons of open space. The dog can run around and do whatever it wants. You know, you got rabbits doing what rabbits do. Whereas in like a city, it's just concrete everywhere.
Yeah.
We have turkeys over here, though.
We do, yeah.
They walk around, rafters.
Bunnies, yeah.
Well, I mean,
lots of geese. There's lots of geese, too.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Dangerous.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.